This is Kowena village in Kumi district, eastern Uganda. A village that once produced huge amounts of food crops, including groundnuts, maize, beans, millet. The list is endless. But today the story is different.
Bampita Aisha Akim ate ebyokulima bigenze nga bifafaagana olw'omusana. Ate buli kimu kye tufuna mu kulima. Okusomesa abaana mu kulima. Okulya mu kulima. Naye kati buli kimu kiganye. Kati tukoze tutya?
Kati ebinyeewa ffe ebyafu bye twasimba gwa kusa. Ebyo bye bino bye bisooka era nabyo bigize ki bifuudde. Kati yo kafa yatuwa ebinyeewa twabisimba gwa kunanga gugwako tekuli wadde n'akamu akateeseeko olw'entoonya y'amazzi agasana tubadde nakayitirivu nnyo twakafuna enkuba. Tetumanyi obulamu tubukuumye tutya olw'akasana. Era tufiiriddwa nnyo ne tube tubatambuza ku nnimiro zonna mulaba nga ebinyeewa bino teri wadde kivaamu.
The trend of climate change calls for immediate intervention. ActionAid International Uganda, Kumi Local Rights Program, is working with a team of agricultural consultants to deploy simple technology that involves digging trenches in gardens to harvest running rainwater during the rainy season to increase water absorption by the soil.
A lot of rainwater is running into the wetlands without anybody using it. And this rainwater could be in situ, that is the water which falls within the garden, or ex situ, that is the water which falls away from the site, from the garden, and runs down the streams. So what we are doing is to find out how we can tap this water for use in our gardens. One way of doing that is blocking or detecting where you can tap that water from the road, or if it is for compound, from part of the compound, or if it is from a pathway, from part of the pathway. But in the process of tapping the water, we should take into consideration that this water is going to flow through gravity. It comes from a higher place to a lower place. So, in detecting where you are going to tap that water from, you should be conscious of those two things. Now you mark the route of the canal. You now determine where it should pass or where it should follow so that it goes to the garden. In marking the route of the canal, there are two processes. One, you mark the central portion of the canal where you are going to dig to a certain depth. Call it 1 meter or half a meter or even 2 meters. Two, after digging that portion of the canal, then you have to shape it properly so that it takes the volume of water that you need. And the shaping of the canal would depend on two things. Either you choose a ratio of 1 to 2, that is for 1 meter depth or 1 foot depth, you move 2 feet on the horizontal and you shape it down to the bottom of the canal. Now, if it is a rocky place or heavy clay, then you don't need to move 2 meters, but you can move maybe up to 1 meter you have to move 1 meter to the edge of the canal, or even 0, especially if it is a rocky place. You don't need to have that ratio. At the same time, the width of the base of the canal would depend on the anticipated volume of water that you expect to harvest from the road. If you know that you have a flood water coming from up, then you can make the base of the canal more than 1 foot. You can make it even 1 meter, 2 meters. But if you know that it is just small amount of water, then the base of the canal can be just about 1 foot or 30 centimeters. After you have dug the canal, the water goes to the garden. But then if it is oranges, you have got to direct it within the trees. You dig another trench in the center of the trees so that you can channel that water to the basins of the oranges which you have constructed.
This technology is simple and cost-effective.
Climate changes have become very common in the communities in Teso. Farmers no longer know when it will rain or when it will not rain. So it is better for them to use such simple technologies where they can reserve as much water as possible whenever it rains. Sometimes it rains just for 1 day in a month or 2 days in a month. But with this technology of creating trenches around the plants, this farmer here will be able to keep water around her orange trees for a longer period of time. This is part of our Food for Thought project funded by Australian Aid to support farmers to have resilience to these climate changes and practice sustainable agriculture for increased productivity.